What up, bitches? Today we'll be looking at Omori, an indie game made by Omori, who's known for her art and clothing brand. For those who don't know, Omori is an RPG maker game that's been in development since 2014. It eventually came to the PC in 2020, and is getting a Switch and PS4 port sometime in spring 2022. Omori is personally one of my favorite games of all time, and it brings tears to my eyes that a game I genuinely love is coming to mainstream consoles. So what better way to celebrate the occasion than talking about my thoughts and feelings about this game? And just a disclaimer, I'm going to try my best to not spoil this game as much as possible, since I find it best going into this game blind. So the examples I'm going to show are mainly from the game's prologue and trailers. I'm hoping by the end of this video that you consider giving Omori a chance, since I want people to love this game as much as I do. But before I get into Omori, I want to give you a gist of what to expect before getting into this game. As much as I love this game to death, it's definitely not a game for everyone, and I don't mean that in terms of gameplay. Despite its kid-friendly aesthetic, this game can get pretty unsettling with its creepy imagery, and it covers some dark sensitive topics such as depression and suicide. Personally, I'm a complete sucker for psychological horror, so when I see those kinds of themes in any form of media, I know 1000% that I'm in for a wild ride. And let me tell ya, Omori definitely delivers that in such a profound way with its storytelling. But I also understand if those are reasons people decide not to play this game. So when you see that warning screen before starting the game, I can say with pure confidence that you can definitely take their word for it. At the same time, I don't want that to discourage people from playing this game. I feel games like Omori, that cover themes pertaining to mental health, helps us understand ourselves and what others go through, since depression and suicide aren't uncommon, and I feel like talking about it makes us more comfortable acknowledging it whenever those issues are brought up. However, I'm not going to be talking about any of that stuff in this video, not because I don't want to, but because that goes into major spoiler territory, which I refuse to do since I want people to play this game. So the story starts off with Omori. He wakes up in a little room known as White Space, a place where you've been as long as you can remember. The only things there are a door, his personal belongings, and his pussy. No, not that pussy. This pussy. After finding a knife, he opens the door and is greeted by his three friends. You got Aubrey, a cheerful girl that's always happy to see Omori. You got Kel, a competitive and lovable dumbass who often gets into fights with Aubrey. And you got Hiro, Kel's older brother. He's the calm and mature one in the group that looks after everyone. Afterwards, they head out and meet up with their other two friends for a picnic. You got Mari, a kind and loving girl who cares about her friends. Just like Hiro, she's also one of the older ones in the group that looks after everyone. And you got Basil, a shy, timid kid who loves plants and taking pictures for his picture album. He treasures the moments he has with his friends, and tries to be friendly with everyone, making sure they're all on good terms. So now you got the squad just chilling, playing hide and seek and shit. Then everyone decides to chill at Basil's house, but once everyone gets comfy, a photo from his album drops out and shit goes from 0 to 100 with tentacles ingrained to the floor. Basil freaking the fuck out about Mari, and Omori getting sent back to White Space where the game forces you to stab yourself with the knife you found earlier. This transitions you to the horror segment of the game. You wake up and find out that the protagonist is actually this guy, and that Omori is his dream variant. After going downstairs to get some food and encountering some spooky shit, he goes back to sleep, but when he returns to the dream world, it turns out Basil's missing, and that Mari is Sunny/Omori's older sister, which makes you wonder, what was Basil concerned about regarding Mari? What happened to him? And what the fuck was this? So now you and the squad are on the search for Basil, doing some Scooby-Doo shit by exploring the world of Headspace and finding any clues to his whereabouts, while simultaneously learning more about the world you're in and the connections it has to the real world. Alright, that's all I'm gonna explain for the story. And don't worry, I didn't spoil anything major. As someone who's put in 100+ hours into this game, as well as getting every achievement, everything I've explained doesn't come close to how much content this game has to offer. As for my thoughts on the story, I enjoyed every second playing this game. Playing Omori was like flicking an emotional on and off switch. One moment I would be feeling happy from a lighthearted goofy scene, then moments later I'd be scared shitless, or I'd be crying my ass off like a little bitch. If this game wanted to feel a certain way, it'll do a damn good job at it, and surprisingly none of the very different undertones felt intrusive as they didn't feel random when they occurred. I'd say this game does a good job of building up the mood of what the player is getting into before it happens. It could be as simple as a change in its music or its imagery. This game just knows how to get players in the mood. Next I want to talk about the characters. Naturally, as you play through the story, you learn more about them and the bonds they share with each other. And let me tell ya, this game really grabbed me by the ass and tugged at my heartstrings. I felt like I got to know each of them on a personal level. Everyone felt fleshed out with their own quirks and personalities, and each of them felt endearing in their own way. Like the whole squad feels so united, like a genuine group of friends looking out for each other's well-being, which I found to be so heartwarming. I got so invested in the characters that I ended up loving each of them from start to finish. It's clear that the characters are one of the game's strongest elements. The writing for this game makes Shakespeare's literature look like dog shit. Next, I want to talk about the art style. One of the main reasons I bought Omori was because of how cute and creepy the game looked in the trailer. I can't think of many games off the top of my head that have two different art styles that give off very conflicting vibes, which is what piqued my curiosity in the first place. As an artist myself, I have an appreciation for both its childlike and unsettling aesthetics. Nearly every character and enemy is hand-drawn, each with their own idle animation, making them feel unique in their own way. As for the pixel art, I think it does a great job of capturing the feeling of the NES era, with its sprite work and turn-based combat being reminiscent of Earthbound, giving off a true sense of nostalgia in terms of childhood wonder, as well as a homage to the NES era. Speaking of turn-based combat, each of your characters have their own HP and MP bars, and your options for combat are your standard attacks, skills, and items. At first it doesn't sound like anything special. It sounds like your traditional menu turn-based format. That's where the emotion system comes in. Each time you start a battle, your characters start at neutral by default. This means that your character's stats are normal. However, there are 3 other emotional states that your squad can be in: happy, sad, and angry. It's similar to Pokemon's rock, paper, scissors mechanic, except in this game one isn't better than the other, and all come with their own strengths and weaknesses. Being happy increases critical hit rate while decreasing your accuracy. Sadness increases your defense while decreasing your attack power. In addition, you lose juice as you take damage, aka your MP. And lastly, anger increases your attack while decreasing your defense. This also applies to your enemies as well. You can change emotional states by using certain skills or items, and the emotional system can greatly benefit your team depending on your playstyle and skill composition. Some character skills become better when under a certain emotion. Same can be said when enemies are under certain emotions. For example, you can make enemies angry in order to do more damage to them, or you can make them sad so they do less damage to you. I also forgot to mention that each emotional state has 2 tiers. For example, let's say Aubrey is already angry. You can make her angry again and she'll become enraged, making her attack even higher than before. Omori is an exception to the rule as he has 3 tiers for each emotion. On top of that, he has a special gimmick where he won't die if his HP reaches 0. However, this only works once per battle. But the combat doesn't end there. There's also the energy system where if an enemy attacks you, you gain 1 energy. With 3, you're able to do follow-up attacks. Depending on which character is attacking, you can select a direction on the D-pad to activate a special action with another party member. This can range from attacking again, increasing your stats, healing, or putting someone under a certain emotion. And if you have 10 energy, you can unleash an all-out attack, release energy attack, where your entire party goes apeshit on the enemies doing massive amounts of damage. There's so much depth to the combat, and even though Omori isn't the most challenging game, this game still expects you to learn and utilize these mechanics, which I find to be great game design. And lastly, there's the music. I can't express enough how down bad I am for the soundtrack. In all my years of gaming, it has some of the most godlike music I've ever heard in a video game. Before buying this game, I thought it was just going to be some 8-bit shit. Since this game was made in RPG Maker, I didn't expect much from its production value, but I'm glad I was wrong, because the tracks here go fucking hard with a mixture of every genre and instrument you can think of. Just like the art style, the music does an amazing job of setting the mood. You got calm, peaceful overworld music, you got creepy as fuck music that makes your skin crawl, and my personal favorite, you got the battle themes. Each area in the game you visit has its own unique battle theme, giving each area its own identity. This absolutely blew my mind when I first played the game, which got me excited whenever I entered a new area. Here's just a few examples. Every battle theme was so dope, and the fact that they combined that with its fun combat system was basically a wet dream for me. God, I love the music so much in this game, and honestly, it should be illegal for music to be this good. And finally, we come to the verdict. I genuinely say this from the bottom of my heart, that Omori is one of the greatest video games that I've ever played. As someone who put in 100 plus hours and got every achievement, I definitely got more than my time and money's worth. For a game that's only $20, this game is packed with content. It's clear that so much love and care was put into this game, such as its story, its colorful cast of characters, its art style, its combat system, its soundtrack, etc. I can't express enough how much this game holds a very special place in my heart. By the end of this game, I was crying like a little bitch. Everything from start to finish was a fucking roller coaster of emotions. Up to this point, there's no other game that's left this kind of impression on me like Omori has. This game is probably gonna live rent-free in my head till the day I die, and I can't thank Omocat and everyone on the team enough for making this beautiful, amazing masterpiece. Overall, I'm giving Omori a solid 10 out of 10. If you love deep story-driven games with an amazing cast of characters, then I highly recommend playing Omori. Anyways, that's the video. I had a blast making this review. To be honest, I wanted to make this video last year, but I was afraid of not giving this game the proper praise it deserves. There's so much great aspects to talk about Omori that I was afraid of leaving something out, as well as not being able to explain it well. But in the end, I said fuck it and just decided to make the video anyways. And with the game coming to mainstream consoles, it made even more sense to make this video. Anyways, if you liked it, maybe you should like and subscribe to the channel. Who knows? Maybe you'll become more comfortable talking about sensitive topics relating to mental health. Or maybe you'll make some lifelong friends. I'd see ya.